gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Phenomenal first-time authors, Dee Scott and Patricia Wallace, who are here to share their journeys into writing, the inspiration behind their stories, and the impact they hope to make. Dee, an adoptee from the Bronx, New York, so you know I'm going to be whoop whoop because that's New York and it's the Bronx. She has contributed her deeply personal story to From Their Eyes anthology, offering a heartfelt look into her experiences. I'm telling you, I've spoken to Dee, and there's some experiences that, whew. Meanwhile, Patricia, an award-winning author, see, I told you I had a good lineup for you. She has captivated young readers with Christopher's Time Out. Now, let me tell you, I need Christopher's Times Out in my house because I got some little ones. But this is a children's book that delivers valuable life lessons in a fun and engaging way. Tonight, we'll dive into their creative processes, the challenges and triumphs of writing, and what's next on their literary journey. You won't want to miss this conversation. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Please welcome Dee and Patricia to Basic Black After Dark. Hey, ladies.
Hello,
Hey.
hello. Good evening.
Oh my gosh, I am so super psyched that you ladies have joined me tonight. And when you said yes, I was like, yes, two, not for the price of one, but two. So you know, I'm happy. I am happy. I'm just like,
Well, I
wow,
am
two
honored.
first time authors. I would say fresh meat, but I'm not gonna call you ladies meat. I am so happy to talk to first time authors because sometimes, don't get me wrong, the other authors that come on here, I love speaking with them as well. But now I have two who are straight out of the box, who can just about tell me exactly how they're feeling, not something that they have said over and over and over again. And they get a little tired of saying it. But here they can say it here, first here. So Dee, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to becoming a first time author. What inspired you to start writing?
Wow. Well, what inspired me to start writing? Well, it seemed like every time I shared my story with anyone, they would immediately tell me I need to write a book. And I was just like, I'm not a writer. I don't think so. I can tell you my story better than I can write it. That's what my thought process was. So I was like, I don't think I can do that. But of course, when God tells you it's time to do it, you have to do it. And of course,
Right.
He laid it upon Latanya to hit me up and say, "Okay, we're doing an anthology on the adoption. You want to do it? Yeah, let's do that." And then I get off the phone with her and say, "Father, what am I doing again? what is happening here?" He said, "It's time. It's time." I said, "Okay, well, let's get to writing." And it just happens to be. It's actually therapeutic. It's actually therapeutic. I have
Wow.
found it to be. Yeah.
Some people have said that the writing it has become therapeutic for them, and it was something that they hadn't planned on doing, but now that they're into it, they're really into it. They're
Yes,
really
ma'am.
into it. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Patricia, congratulations on your 2024 Distinguished Authors Guild Award and the Book Fest win. Now, let me tell everybody the Distinguished Authors Guild Award, it's going on for 2025. And if you haven't entered it yet, I think there's still time for you to get involved and enter
Yes,
it.
it is.
So it's called the DAG Awards, but it's also the Distinguished Authors Guild Awards. And you can go on my page, you may see it. You may just pop in Distinguished Authors Guild. You may go on Patricia's page. You may see it. There's so many DAG Award winners that DAG. They're all over the place. They influence your journey as an author.
So, first of all, thank you so
Patricia.
much. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here tonight on your platform. And congratulations to you on being named an International Impact Book Award winner. So, kudos to you for
Thank
what
you.
you're bringing to the table
Yes,
as well.
congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you
So,
so much.
so regarding the awards, they've allowed me to walk this writing journey with more confidence. The recognition, it's given me a perspective in the sense of how this journey is bigger than me and how writing has the power to reach others in such an impactful way that I didn't realize that that could be an outcome. And so this for me has solidified that my book has connected with my intended audience and that I am on the right track. And so the awards have also shown me that that's tangible proof that since God has put this gift inside of me, it is already destined to succeed in ways that I couldn't imagine because he has begun a good work in me and he is faithful to perform it. And I'm seeing that being revealed every single time someone tells me how it has impacted them and their children.
Wow, I'm just so excited for both of you. You know, you're going above and beyond. Didi, you're sharing some personal things about yourself. Now, I've worked with children and families in foster care and adoption for over 40 years, and many of them grow up and they go on to live successful lives. And some of them talk about their stories and how they um, journeyed through foster care, and some of them eventually was adopted. What was it like growing up as an adopted child in the Bronx? Now, look, let me tell you, Bronx is tough, but it's not what some people paint it to be. Because I still
Yeah.
have family that lives in the Bronx, and it is family oriented. As a matter of fact, I wrote a book on a place in the Bronx, 1380 Prospect Avenue, not another Bronx tale. But growing up, which I did not grow up in the Bronx, but
Hmm.
my family, a lot of them grew up in the Bronx, and many of them, like I said, is still there. What was it like growing up as an adopted child in the Bronx? And you may not even have seen yourself as adopted, but others may have. What was it like, and how was your upbringing shaped you to who you are today? Because you're a fantastic lady.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a regular childhood. I mean, it's definitely different from New York to Virginia. It's definitely a whole nother aspect of of life. So it was good. I mean, my adopted parents got me when I was 2.5 years old, and I wasn't officially adopted until I was 8. Me and my other sister were adopted together, and the reason why I was memorable because I had the chicken pox that year. So, but it was good. I mean, I love New York. I love the Bronx. You didn't feel like you stood out. Being I'm disabled, I have spinal bifida, I have hydrocephalus. In New York, you don't stand out. It's like a melting pot. Everybody's just everybody. And so coming from there to Virginia,
Everybody doing their
it's a
thing.
whole nother ball game. You stand out in Virginia.
Mm.
So yeah. But
So
I mean
you
my parents were
you
great. My
left New
parents
York
loved
at
me.
what age did you leave?
My parents retired and we
What
moved
age did you leave
here
New York?
about 15. I was about 14 or
Oh
15 years
wow!
old.
So you really did grow up in New York.
Yeah.
You really did grow up in New York.
Yeah. And
Now
it
you
was a
mentioned
shock
something
to
about the chicken pox, and that's is it, well, yeah. Leaving New York is a shock to anybody's system because I'm still shocked at where I'm at. I'm gonna tell you, I cried for the first 6 months
I
where
can
I'm at because
understand
I
it.
thought I was in Compton.
I can
And
understand.
it's sometimes I still wake up and say, I can't believe I spent all my life here. I really can't. But hey, it is what it is, and what are you gonna
Yes,
do?
ma'am.
What are you gonna do? But you had mentioned something about the chicken pox, and I'm gonna go off a little bit because I remember when I had the chicken pox. My niece, whatever she had, she brought home and gave it to me. Did you get the chicken pox first, or did your sister get it?
No, I think I got it first. From what I can remember, and the reason why it was so memorable to me and funny how God did that is because the day we had to go to court. My mom basically was trying to stop me from scratching. That's all I can remember. She was trying to make sure my hands would not scratch. So I just remember going to the courthouse and the judge asking me, do I want to be in this family? And I was like, yeah, that's the only thing I really remember saying is yes. And that's it. And then when we got back
So,
home and I went straight to bed.
so all right, it was a long day. How did you come to be part of the From Their Eyes anthology, and what made you want to share your adoption story?
Okay, well, Latanya was a part of it at first, and they were looking for some more writers. And she said she immediately thought about me, but she wasn't sure if I would do it because we always talked about it. And I would say, no, it's not time. No, not now. No, mm-mm. And she caught me in a relaxed state of mind. And the father said,
I'm glad
yeah,
you did. Hey,
yeah, she caught me in a good,
listen.
relaxed state of mind, and I appreciate it because she didn't really have to think about me, but it's just what we do for each other. And so when she said, that I want to be a part of it, I said, yeah. I said, yeah, not thinking, just said yeah, and then got off the phone with her and was like, God, what are we doing? What are we doing now? He said, it's time for you to write it. And I said, okay. So I'm really doing it in honor of my parents because not everybody's adoption story is a good one. And my parents were a gift from God. And
Mm.
I tell people all the time, they put me in the right family and my middle
So
name is
how
right.
how did I see how did Johnny and Dolores Wright influence your life and your perspective on family? See, we've spoken before. For those of you who wonder, how did she know the name of her parents? We've spoken plenty of times, and now that she's an author, we're going to continue to speak more and more. So,
Yes,
how did
ma'am.
they influence your life and your perspective on family?
Oh, they were loving. They didn't treat us like
Did
we adopted because they already had 4 kids of their own and they adopted 3 more. So they were almost practically finished when they when they got us. My sister, their baby girl was I think in college, and so they were pretty much finished. But my mom said she always wanted 6 girls and 1 boy. She already had 3 girls and she had a boy, so she adopted
oh
3 more.
wow.
So family was big for us. I mean, we
So
just loved
what
each other.
Mm.
so what role has your faith played in your journey, both as an adoptee and as a writer?
Oh, my faith is everything. I can't do anything without God. I don't even move without God. I don't even do anything without the Father. I try to make sure that everything I do is
Mhm.
lined up with what He wants. I'm not perfect at it, but I definitely try to make sure that I seek Him first. And if I know that He wants me to do this,
Okay.
then I know He's got a plan. I know that He's got a plan in it. And I mean, I grew up in a church. We grew up in going to church. We grew up going to Mount Nebo Baptist Church. So I don't, so
Okay.
yeah, and then we just grew up, baptized at around. I think I was around maybe
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
maybe
being
eight or
in the
nine.
Bronx, you're gonna get baptized. You in that Bronx, you're gonna get baptized one way or the other, either through your family or through the communities. Somebody gonna baptize. You're not gonna walk around in the Bronx and not be baptized. That's just the thing
Exactly,
there. Now,
exactly.
Patricia,
Yeah.
I heard you once mention that you had a front row seat to your children's learning process. How did their adventures and imagination shape your approach to writing for children?
So I paid a lot of attention to the kids' emphasis on trying to engage their classmates' attention. So my book is about a little
Mhm.
boy who wants to act a fool and be the class clown in class, right? So he wants to perform in front of his friends. So I was always paying attention to that, either with my son
Okay.
at home and my older son Jordan Christopher Wallace is the inspiration for the book, and so I was paying attention to what he was always trying to do and trying to engage his friends' attention. And I became a substitute teacher, and then I saw how the kids were acting in class. They're always trying to get their peers' attentions. To that was always seeming to be their goal, and so it was always something they didn't want to be doing or that they knew they weren't supposed to be doing. They didn't want to act right. And so they were always trying to just being able to do something silly that might not be the smartest thing and not paying attention to the consequences of poor behavior. So
Mhm.
that's why I chose the classroom setting, because that's where the real life Christopher, my son, that's where his nonsense was going down when he was in kindergarten. And it's the setting a lot of times for where the kids tend to act out, because that's where their peers are. And so I could see as I moved along from class to class with the kids as they got older, I saw where they were growing and learning in those areas, not just in the academic sense. And so the classroom was always a great setting because school is a place that sets the foundation early in their lives for rules and for values surrounding social behavior that they need to learn as soon as possible.
Exactly. Exactly. How does your son, is he an adult for your son?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? How is he?
I was wondering if
Okay, I can hear it.
is he an adult or is he still
Oh,
a
he's an
child?
adult. Oh, he's an adult now. He's an adult. He's like grown. So,
Is your
and
son an
what was your
adult?
question? How
Writing
is he?
How does it feel about you writing about it?
He totally embraced it. Now this he's grown, and so a lot of the stuff that he
How
was
does it
doing then, he didn't even realize it now. He doesn't realize it then, I mean, but he totally embraced it. I did talk to him first, and I literally said, "Okay, I want to put you on blast. Are you okay with that?" And so he chuckled and laughed and everything, and he was like, "Yeah, that's fine, that's fine." And also, I let him read. I got his collaboration on it. Although he didn't remember doing things, he was caught up in that it was engaging and that it was funny to him. And he was also one of my beta readers. So he was involved in it every step of the way, from the actual story context to the illustrations as well. So he's all for it. He's totally supportive. And that's been like the icing on the cake because, now if he had a problem with it, I may have still done it because I think it needed to be told, but we would have worked something out. But I did tell him, I'm putting you on blast. He was all for it. And so we just went on from there.
That's great. That's nice. So with a background in English literature and corporate copywriting, contribute to your transition into writing books for young readers.
So actually that was very helpful for me. It was actually a natural part of my book writing process because all I knew was reading and writing growing up. I was a bookworm. I stayed in the library. So it was natural for me to be an English major. And so that was a seamless transition from, my background and educational wise, my personal interests, and then deciding that I'm going to write a book. And so, because I always felt like telling a good story has the same basic elements as well, regardless of the type of writing, regardless of whether you're a marketing writer or trying to write a children's book. The certain foundations are the same. Why are you writing it? What's your intent? What are you telling your story? What are you telling your audience? What do you want their takeaway to be based on what you're trying to sell to them? And so the goal is always, again, regardless of the type of writing, the
That's
goal is
really
always
important.
you want them to go from one line to the next. You just want them to keep reading. So you have to keep them engaged.
I'm
And
so
so,
glad you said that. So many people they just write because they feel as though that they can write. Some people don't think about their readers at all. But you can you hear me, Patricia?
yes, I can hear you. You said you were speaking about some people don't take into account
No,
their audience and what the purpose
no,
is.
I was saying that
Oh, it's not
you
coming.
focus. Can you hear me?
It's going in and out.
I was asking, how do you balance education and
How do I balance my
entertainment?
education with my writing
Yeah,
process?
we have so unpredictable and entertainment. Yes, because it's
Well,
just in the story that you
So just trying to create that formula for, because it's a children's book. I started out with the engagement part, the entertaining part. That begins with, even before I put the work down, what's attracting people to a children's book most likely is the illustration. So it had to be colorful, it had to be engaging. You had to see what was going on to want to open it up and read about what's going on. So I set the foundation that way, and then told a little funny stories about, a few incidents about what he was doing in class, and then laying the groundwork for the lesson that had to be learned. Okay, if you keep acting a fool in class and not doing what you're supposed to be doing, there's a time and place for everything. Somebody can get hurt. And so that get weaved in. I got weaved in. One of his imaginary friends got hurt in a dream sequence.
Right.
And then at the end, he learned that, okay, that I can do what I do, the things I can be funny and silly and everything, but there's a time and a place. And then you can continue on to still exhibit the proper behavior that you need to exhibit at the proper time. And so just understanding how to weave those different elements in there together to hold the intention to engage and hold the attention of your intended audience, which, kids are
Right.
very attentive when it's something that strikes their interest.
Well, it's so important that when you write a children's book, and I'm not saying nobody else can, but when you're an English teacher and you're writing it, you just seem to have all those little nuggets that you're able to tap into everything as far as what the child should be reading, what the parent would love for their child to read, and what the Department of Education would want children to know and to
Mhm.
read. And it's just like it's a well oiled thing when you have a teacher that's writing as well. But Dee Dee, let me ask you a question. What message or lesson do you hope readers take away from your contribution, eyes, the anthology?
I would hope that they would see that not everybody's adoption story is a bad one, that there are good outcomes, there are great outcomes, and that if you're thinking about adopting, thinking about fostering, you should do it. If you have love in your heart for a child, you should do it because there are so many kids out here that need that kind of love and upbringing. And I just wanted to basically honor my parents in that writing.
Wow. Wow. And I could just imagine how proud they are of you, with what you have written and just the way that you turned out. I'm sitting here smiling like I'm
Thank
the
you.
parent. Patricia, what was the most challenging part of bringing, what was the most
The most challenging part of
challenging
bringing
amounts like
the most challenging part of bringing it to putting the story together.
Christopher's times out to like,
Right. So actually the most challenging part,
yes.
it wasn't it wasn't the storytelling.
I'm saying because you lived with your son, you knew how he was in school.
Right. I knew how he was in school and all of that. And so putting it together, it wasn't the writing part because he fed me. He like overwhelmed me with the material because of all the nonsense. But then and couple that with the fact that English is my background. That's what I majored in. That's what I did in my day job. So the storytelling was not challenging at all. I knew how to put a good story together. So I wasn't concerned about that. But then it was after that. I knew how to work with an illustrator because as a marketing writer, I dealt with graphic designers all the time, so I knew how to speak their language to tell them what I wanted. But the issue came when, okay, now I have this document, this manuscript. Now what? How do I copyright it? I know I'm supposed to, but I don't know how to do that. And then what publisher do I go with? I know I want to self-publish, but there are a million self-publishers. So then this is where I really stepped out on faith because I just knew, okay, complete the manuscript and then you'll know what to do next. When it'll be time for you to know what to do next because I'm still wondering in the back of my mind. And so about just a few week or so, it wasn't very long after I had a complete solid manuscript, I saw a notice, a flyer about a publishing workshop held by Natalie R. Murphy from the Distinguished Authors Guild, and it's called From Pen to Publish. I saw this flyer, and one of the first things it says was, "Are you ready to publish your book? Do you need to know how to copyright it?" So that was for me. And from there, I went to the writing workshop. I was running to it. I couldn't wait. I was excited. I got all of those questions answered, and I was ready to cross the publishing finish line. But then, even after that, okay, so now what do I do? How do I, once I publish, what happens next? So, and Natalie again, then she strongly encouraged me to submit my book to the Distinguished Authors Guild for award consideration. And I was hesitant at first. I'm like, what do you mean? I just published it. The ink is not dry. What do you mean award? What? And so she's like, you need to do this. And I thought about, I took a step back. Wait a minute. She's an award winning, accomplished author. She's telling me to do this. I believe she knows what she's talking about. So I decided to follow her advice. And therefore, it was through the Distinguished Authors Guild, Dr. Carolyn, Miss Gina, along with my fellow nominees, that I learned the nuances for showcasing my book in public. That was the most challenging part because being the first time author, I didn't know what that journey was supposed to look like after publication. And I certainly didn't have any
Yeah.
clue about or any idea that I could be submitting it for awards. And so they provided that guidance and that
But
support like me. And so I'm very thankful for that.
you you had some, and the ones that you've mentioned, I heard about them, and I've spoken to some of them. You have some powerhouses behind you, and this is what I keep saying about the Distinguished Authors Guild. Um, Join it, and this is what you're going to get out of it, and more. You know, Dee Dee, what was the most challenging part of sharing your story, and what did you learn about yourself in the process?
Mm.
The most challenging part for me is just thinking about uh times of being with my parents because both of them have gone on home.
Oh,
So to have stories where I'm incorporating them into it, it gets a little emotional. It gets a little emotional because my mom was my everything. She was my cheerleader. She was my support system. She believed in me more than I probably believed in myself. She saw something in me I didn't even remotely see for a long time. So she helped me to kind of just see that my disability doesn't have to stop me from doing whatever I want. She always emphasized that. She said, yes, you're physically challenged, but you don't have nothing is wrong with your brain, so you can do whatever you want. So she always pushed me. So having those stories to be able to tell and thinking about her and what she would be saying and hearing her voice, those were challenging because I would have to kind of pause a little bit because it would make me emotional because I would miss her. I miss her every day. I miss both of them every day. And I'm just hoping that
Yeah,
I am making them proud because that is my goal.
I believe
That's
you
always
are.
my goal is to
I
make them
believe you
proud.
are. If you had to, well, what author would you most like to meet and why?
Mm,
Now that you're in the game,
wow.
what author would you most likely like to meet and why?
What author? Um, I'm not really sure right now. If I'm a big Terry McMillan fan, but that's kind of wild.
Who
That's
isn't?
kind of wild for me. But
Who
I guess I would
isn't?
say
Who
her because
isn't a
I
big
like
fan of
her. I
Black
like her
women?
writing. I mean, I used to read some of her books. So, and then I was also a big Maya Angelou fan. So I love Maya Angelou. So I wish I could meet her.
mm.
Yes.
Yes.
Patricia, how about you? What author would you most like to meet and why?
I would love to meet Michelle Obama. I enjoyed her book. I thought it was exciting. It was insightful.
See, now wait a minute. She's more than an author. She is more than an author. So she's in
But
just
I
about
just
every
mean her.
category. I
Right,
love
right,
that you
right.
love to have her, but she's in so many different categories we can throw her in.
But her book really captivated me. That's when I
Hmm.
felt like once I read her story, you know what I mean? You saw her on the big screen, you saw what she's doing in front of the public eye,
Right.
but to
Hmm.
hear her personal, journey in life, and how she didn't want to be in the political scene, and all of that. And she was a Chicago girl. I'm from Chicago, and I could a lot of the simple nuances like that I could relate to, and so it was
Hmm.
very authentic to me. And I feel like just the nuggets that she gives as an author, telling her memoir, I thought those were just valuable, very valuable um, lessons that are, just never ending. But I would
What has
also,
been the most surprising or rewarding part of your publishing journey so far?
for me, it's been the
I'm
responses that I'm getting
sorry.
from other aspiring authors. You wanted me to repeat it?
Back and think that this is going to be. No, I'm just saying that you guys are going to. You're both of you young ladies are going to continue to get the responses that you're getting, plus much more. So prepare yourself because this is just the beginning of this journey for you. It's a
Yeah,
lot out there. It's a lot more to both of you, and I can see that. So don't think that okay, I wrote that one book. I'm going to sit back and relax, and that's going to be it. No. So when you think that somebody's knocking at your door,
yeah,
somebody's knocking down once. So open it up, and let them in.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, but I
So
also
yeah, I was
like
saying
to.
what was the most surprising part, but you can't. Yeah. Who else do you like?
Can you say that again?
What other author? What other author do you like? Would you most like to meet? You said Michelle
Oh,
Obama.
yeah, Victoria Christopher Murray. Her latest book,
Mm.
Harlem Rhapsody. I'm reading that now, and she's just phenomenal as well. And I'm hoping that I've seen on Facebook that she's trying. She mentioned that she's trying to come to Chicago. I would love to see her. Just those authors who are thriving and showing the way of how to do this, that it can be done, and just the reception of what a story can do for people, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And so that was one of the things I wanted to continue on with. Just people's response is just when they come to me and say, "You've inspired me to write my own story," because I either have a manuscript that I haven't dusted off, or I'm currently working on something, and I didn't have the courage to go out there, but I see that you did, so now I think I can do it too. You know what I mean? So that's something that I didn't think about. That's very rewarding, how just your simple taking your walk of faith is allowing them to see what you're doing, because you never know who's watching you. And if she can, I tell them, if I can do it, so can you.
Exactly.
And so that's very rewarding, and just like an icing on the cake type of a thing that I didn't think anything about. I wasn't My head wasn't on that level. It was just trying to get it written down. But you never know.
Well, get yourself ready to be on that level because I'm going to have plenty of interviews and I'm going to be asking some of these authors the same questions. And when they say that my favorite is Dee Scott or Patricia Wallace, I'm going to be like, I know them. I interviewed them. Yes, so I already met them. So don't be too surprised if that happens to you because I guarantee you that's going to be coming very soon.
Mm,
Well, praise God.
I receive it.
They're
I
going to be
receive it.
Yes.
saying that in your books because that's where your book is going to go. Please receive it because I'm telling you, I got it. Ain't nobody around here seeing me saying all of this, but I've seen them on my shelf. I haven't met them personally, but I was able to talk to them.
Praise God. Yes.
So I
Yes.
said, look, go back and look, go to YouTube. They're on there. You'll see me. So hey, so, so
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
that's going to
Yes,
happen. That
absolutely.
you're working on an orphan. Can you give us a little bit? Shoot, girl, you think I was? What can you tell us about your autobiography? What might it include, Dee? I
It's
know you don't
gonna
want to give
contain.
everything away, but what might your autobiography include?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, in the anthology, I only gave like snippets of my story. So I'm continuing, bits and parts of what they probably already read, but it's just gonna continue to keep going. And I'm just gonna kind of just put it out there. God wanted me to put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there as best as I know how.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all I'm gonna do is just continue to write what I've been writing and kind of just
There you
expand
go.
on it. Expand.
Well, be comfortable with whatever you're writing because that's the key in this whole thing. Be comfortable in it. What advice would you give to someone who was considering sharing their personal story but might be a little hesitant or afraid to do so, Dee Dee?
Pray about it first.
Mm.
I'm big on prayer, so let God lead you. And then just step out there because like my friend told me, she said you never know that your story is the story that could save someone. And I never thought about it like that. I
Yeah.
never thought my story would have any major impact. I just shared my story because I felt blessed to grow up in the family I grew up in. But my story can help someone, can encourage someone. So that's my goal is to encourage others to just put it out there. You have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a story. So it's just taking the step of faith to put it out there.
Mhm.
So, Patricia, what advice would you give to aspiring authors, particularly those writing children's books and about creating and engaging impactful stories?
I would tell them very similar to what Dee Dee said, write from your heart. Know your audience. You're writing for children. You have to know what, well, with any audience, that's for sure. But with
Hmm.
children, attention span, a lot of times you got to be mindful of certain things and that the importance of the written word along with the illustrations, that is key. So know your audience. Don't be afraid to take chances on how you tell your story because that's your story.
Excuse
I would tell them if you're compelled to write it, that means that you do have an audience that will be compelled to read what only you have to say, what or how in a way
me.
that only you can reach them. And I would tell them that the purpose of their storytelling, whether it's fiction, whether it's nonfiction, whatever the genre is, it's to share with others. So whenever you're doing that, just be mindful, whether it's you're inspiring, whether or not you're encouraging someone, whether you're entertaining, it is to share with others. So share. The purpose is bigger than we are. We're the
Mhm.
vehicle that these stories are being pushed through so that we can speak to others with our unique voice. So I would tell
Mhm.
them to be mindful of those things. Go for it because you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to
Mhm.
lose.
Right. Right. So, what's next for you, Patricia? Can readers look forward to more adventures with Christopher, or do you have a new project coming out?
Well, since I was asked from the beginning what's next from Christopher, even before the ink was dry, yes, I do. I'm working on something. Apparently people want to see what he gets into next. So I'll have to collaborate with the real Christopher. And but yeah, I do have something in the works regarding his next learning experience, so to speak. Because I have a formula there, and it seemed to be well received. And again, he gave me plenty of material, him and his classmates, and and I have and my other children as well. So um,
Wow.
yes, there's
Does it look like you're
definitely
gonna be
more
writing for a
that's
while?
I love it. I love it. I'll take that. So yeah, there is a next
I see.
installment for Christopher. So all I can say is stay tuned on that.
So, Didi, now I hear that you're writing that your autobiography, but I know something else is going to come through, and I'm quite sure you're probably working on other things because the doors, like I said, the doors are going to be opening, and you're probably, when you're writing through, and you start to see what your potential is, something that you didn't even tap into. So I know that you're
Yeah,
just tapping away
Mm.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
because at first you were hesitant, but now they're
Very.
there supporting you. What is it that, besides your autobiography, what is it that you're thinking of tapping into? Because I want to tap into that for you.
um,
What is it that
well,
you're tapping into?
I kind of have been thinking about,
Because the wheels are turning.
yeah, they're definitely turning. I've also thought about, and I've been praying about it to see where God wants me to go with that. But I've dealt with suicide and suicide thoughts in my life, and so I want to basically do maybe a self help book to kind of help others to encourage them to keep going, to keep pushing.
Wow.
So I'm kind of trying to figure out if I want to do that or um just encourage other people who have disabilities to keep pushing forth. Just like my mom did with me. There's nothing
Wow.
that should be nothing to stop you. If you want to do it, you can do anything you put your mind to. Is what she would always say. So I just want to be able to encourage people because I feel like that's one of the things God has me here for, is to encourage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely
Have
those are
you
two major
thought
things
about
I'm
reaching
thinking
out?
about afterwards.
Have you thought about reaching out to maybe the adoption agency that you came from and letting them know who you are, that you're a famous author, and that you can come and do speaking engagements for them?
But it's funny that you would say that.
That's
Growing up, we came from, and most people would think that it's kind of interesting, but the Salvation Army. That's where me and my sisters came from. So it's like I don't even know if they're really doing that anymore. But I have reached out to some other foster care systems to let them know about the book and things like that. I haven't got too much hit yet, but I'm waiting for God to do what He's gonna do because I know He got a plan. So yeah, I would like to do that.
they
I would
have
love that.
so many support groups for foster parents, and there's some that you can join and let them know who you are. See,
Get me out there, Auntie.
I tried. No, they kicked me. They kicked me out because, and I understand why. Because I'm a social worker, and I couldn't
Hmm.
belong to the group because they was going to be talking about things that I
Yeah,
shouldn't hear. But the thing is, I was a foster parent too, and I needed that type of support
yeah,
because I didn't
yeah.
want to hear the regular stuff that foster parents, that
Hmm.
other social workers talk about. I hear it all day, every day. But I wanted to
Exactly,
hear, and share some of my experiences too, because so what? I work for the system. I have experiences
exactly,
too that
exactly.
the court system that I deal with. I wanted to be able to do that as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey
Yes,
Travita,
ma'am.
thank you so much for watching us and tuning in. So there's so many support groups that you can go to and speak them. And Patricia, Ronald McDonald House, they would love this story about Christopher's
Hmm.
time out because it's just so
Yeah.
much fun for them to, and it takes their mind off of it. And then you're there, an actual published author. This is him now. They would go, ooh, and be looking and whatnot. One question I wanted to ask you, Patricia, was, do your son have children, and what do they think about that book about what their dad used to do?
Well, no, he doesn't have children yet, so we will have to
Oh,
let the
better watch
jury,
out.
we have to put that on hold, but again,
Oh,
he
that's
was
fine.
he was excited about it, and my family members were all just like, yeah, that's definitely what he used to do. So everyone was very engaging with it. But again, he gets a kick out of it. He loves it. And he actually went to a book fair with me. My husband typically goes with me, and he wasn't able to come that particular time. So I was like, Christopher, you need to come. And we had the t-shirts on, and people asked him, they were like, are you the bad little boy that was doing all that stuff? And he was like, yeah, 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 that was me. That was me. And so he was totally engaged, and he's enjoying it. So yeah, so I'm sure when he does have children, I will be the first one to make sure they have a copy, and we'll read it to them and tell them all about the inside scoop on how that story came to be.
Oh wow, that is so funny. So, ladies, tell me what it was like. Tell me what it was like when your author's copy of your book arrived and you saw your name on it. What were your thoughts?
Whew. You want to go first, Dee?
No, you go first, Miss Patricia.
Okay,
I'm a
okay.
little too emotional.
It was surreal. It was like in my hands is all of this work, all of these years of saying I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and then for it to be a tangible something I could hold in my hand that I could share. with whomever, it was just, it was surreal. And I had to take a breather. I had to just sit down and just look at it and think. I was thankful, of course, very, very thankful for the opportunity to get it across the finish line. And then it was like, okay, then it really started to settle on me like, now you really have to go out there and share this. You've written it down. You have to make sure that people do what you can to make sure they see it and they can engage with it. But it was very surreal for me. And I had to really just sit. I sat in the moment. I didn't rush the moment. I sat there with that because there's never a first time receiving your first author's copy, of your first book. So yeah, I sat in it and I just relished what that meant for me. Yeah,
book that you're going to write because each book is different and it's a different meaning. Dee Dee, how about you?
yeah.
What were your thoughts when you first got your book and you saw your name on it?
Whew, my goodness. Well, I immediately called Latanya because that's one of my best friends, and she kind of, was on the phone with me when I opened the box, and I just started crying because I was just like, God, you did that. You did that because I just did not see me as author in front of my name or
Mm,
behind my name. And so to see my name on a cover was very, very emotional. And then I just immediately thought about my parents and I thought about my mom. And I just knew that if she was here, she'd buy every copy and send it to everybody she know. And then she'd go tell them to go buy copies. And then, and then everybody got to get a copy and da 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 da. And it's my baby girl. So it was very emotional because I could literally almost see both of their faces smiling. I could literally see them smiling. And it was just like, okay, God, this happened. I am an author.
Them
And
and
I never saw that.
you put a picture of both of them on. You take your book and you take a picture of them and you put it on both sides and you let it like kind of face the book. There you
Whew,
go. There you go.
whew.
They're forever looking at your book. And it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay because you're gonna write
Yes.
many more. Many more. They're gonna
Thank
wow.
always
you.
be with you when you do your journey. So
Yes, ma'am.
you're
Thank
gonna be
y'all.
fine. So ladies, you no, please, thank you. How can listeners and viewers connect with you?
How can listeners connect with us?
To about viewers, yes. How could they connect with you? If they want to get in contact with you to talk to you about it or to have you come in and do a book signing, how could they reach you?
I can be reached on Facebook, um, and then Patricia Wallace. And then also, if they want a copy, they can get it through bookbaby.com. But I can definitely connect through Facebook and we can go from there.
I would say the same thing. You can
Okay.
reach me on
Okay,
Facebook.
Dee Dee, how could they connect with you?
Yes, ma'am. You can reach me on Facebook. The book is on Amazon. And like she said, you can, DM me and you can get the book off of Amazon. And yeah, just message me, DM me, let me know. And we can go from there.
Hmm.
Wow. This has been an absolutely inspiring conversation. I want to give you a huge thank you to Dee Dee Scott and Patricia Wallace for sharing their journeys, wisdom, and personal stories with us. And of
Thank
course,
you.
be sure to like, share, you're so welcome, and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Basic Black After Dark. You can catch us on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All of the links are going across the bar right now. Thank you all for tuning in. Join us on March 7th for National Reading Month with my guest, Veronica Randolph. And stay tuned for our panel discussion. We're going to have something coming up new with Basic Black After Dark. It's called Cracks in the Surface, Strength in the Core, Not Easily Broken. It's coming
Mm,
soon. Until next time, remember your story matters. Your voice is powerful, and the best is yet to come. And that goes for you, ladies.
Mm,
Thanks
right.
for keeping it basic. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.